Hello, hello. Welcome once again to the back porch with Feltalala. It is a beautiful September evening and we are planning ahead. We're working on some Christmas ornaments back here today. And I'm calling this a swirling red Christmas ornament. So we've got a nice Christmas red and then just these lovely white swirls that we've then put some gold around for a nice festive look. And then on this side, I did do a snowflake. And this choice is going to be up to you. You can keep going with the swirls, or you can put a snowflake on the back. And you may have seen we also have a beautiful silver blue that is all about snowflakes. So to see the tutorial for the snowflake, please do go to Making a Snowflake Ornament with Feltalala, also on YouTube. And for this one, we're going to focus on how do you cover a ball, which in that video, you learn how to do it because you're doing it in blue, but in this case in red. And then we're going to work on making some swirls. And they don't have to be exactly the same. You can let your creativity shine in that. So what did you get in your kit? You got a wool ball, and a good first step is to take a look at it and see if there's any bit sticking out, in which case you just push it in with your fingers, with your hands, and just try to make it as round as you want it to be. You can roll it a bit. And just make it as round as you like it to be. I think that is just exactly fine. So we have the ball. We have 2 needles in case you break one. Our needles, we import them from a German company who makes these beautiful stainless steel needles. And you've received 3 colors. You received a gold and a red and a white. So the first thing to do, I probably sent you about this much roving. So the roving sliver top. So the first thing to do is to take off a piece that you're going to use for your hanger. You really have more than you need in what I've sent. So there's a lot left over. So how do we cover the ball in red? I've sent you a nice piece of red, I think probably about this much. And what you don't want to do is put that whole chunk on there and try to felt that in. It's too thick, it's too much. It's not going to give you the surface that we want. What we want to do instead is, let's take a piece off and let's pull it to make it thin, 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 not chunky. Chunky just doesn't work so well with needle felting. So we want to, so we start thin like this, but don't worry if you have bald spots, because we're going to go over afterwards and fill in any bald spots that we have. What I want now is really just not to have big, thick, chunky spots. So that's a good place to start. And then you just take your needle. So if you're new, watch this bit. If you're not, fast forward over it. How does needle felting work? So you have these little barbs in the end of the needle, and there's barbs in the wool. And when we tap, 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 it entangles the wool. It grabs those barbs and it entangles the wool. In this case, with our background, which is this wool ball, it works really well because the ball is also wool. In the case of our characters and other things, you're entangling the wool with itself, and by doing that, you can make anything. You can absolutely anything visual you can make with needle felting, and I absolutely love that about it. So what are the things that people do when they start? They stab themselves. Please don't stab yourself. Maybe you've bought a cot from me. Maybe you have a leather glove. But if you just keep your hand away from the needle, for the ball, particularly at this point of the ball, you don't need your hand to be anywhere near that needle. So just don't stab yourself. And then the other thing is people break needles. That's why I've given you 2. But you won't break your needle if you just go straight in and out. It doesn't bend, so don't try to bend it. Don't try to flip it. Just straight in and out. And it says tap, 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 tapping. You also don't have to go any further than where the barbs are in the needle, because it's pointless. If you come much deeper into the needle, it's not any more effective, and you're more likely to break your needle, and you're also working harder than you have to. So we're just going to tap, tap, tap around the ball, and I like to keep it moving. Whenever I'm doing circular things, I find keeping it moving really helps to give me a smooth surface, makes it nice and even. You might find little bits of vegetative matter in your wool. Just take it out. The wool was living on a sheep before it came to you, and the sheep was living outside, and there you go. Our wool comes from a mill that works with a number of Canadian farmers, and I just absolutely love it. I love the product. So we're going to keep going and keep going, and you see I have these chunks in the end. Here's again that fabulous short fiber situation. I just pull it off. Wherever you have extra, you can just pull that right off. So this felting part where you're tapping it into the ball, it's going to take a while, right? It's going to take around an hour, I think, for you to fully attach it to the ball. And in my own opinion, an hour spent tapping away is time well spent. It's relaxing. I like that sound. I love the feel of the wool. Makes me very happy. I'm just pulling a little more off. So no chunks. So here I have a little bald spot. So one thing that I can do is I can go horizontally, which doesn't go against what I just said about breaking the needle. I'm going to go in and out in the same direction. I'm not trying to bend the needle, but I'm going horizontally. So I'm moving the wool over a bit to fill up that bald spot. And if there's not enough wool in the surrounding areas, which actually in both of these cases there really is, I think that's fine. This one too. But if you do have a bald spot that needs covering, just take a small amount of wool. It's very thin. Put it on top and then felt it in. Easy peasy. Just keep working on it until you have it as smooth as you want it to be. When it's all attached, you can go around horizontally like this. Smooth out some fuzzies. Just get it really, really attached. So work on that for a good hour. Would be my recommendation. You can also get tools that have multiple needles in them that would make this sort of a task faster. If you're just making one ornament, I don't think you need to invest in that. But if you're making several, for sure you could. Okay, so I'm going to want mine to be firmer, and I am going to work on that when I'm sitting in my comfy chair later.